Councilwoman Wise.
Good evening. It is 6:01, and I'd like to call our regularly scheduled meeting of the Lake Worth Beach Community Redevelopment Agency to order. Roll call, please.
Miss Caroline here. Miss Donna Kerner
Here.
Mr. Drew Bartlett
Here.
Mr. Daniel Morgan
Here.
Miss Carla Bloxton
Here.
Miss Thea Birch is not present. Miss Ann Fairfax
Here.
Ms. Fairfax has requested to join our meeting via Zoom. Can I have a motion, please?
Second.
Now, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. If everyone will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with justice for all. Do we have any additions, deletions, or reorderings of the agenda? Nope. Now we're going to have public comment on non-agenda items. Any public comment? Feel free to join us.
Okay. Peggy Fisher, 8th Street, West Palm Beach, Lake Worth Beach. I grew up in West Palm Beach. My apologies. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone on the CRA, both the people on the board and especially to staff for everything they have done on the Gulfstream project to bring it to our city. The groundbreaking this afternoon was fabulous. And I just think as a body and with your staff here, we just need to say thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to have our presentations.
I'll give a little background on this. So as you all probably have heard or saw on Facebook or the news, we received $500,000 from Representative Frankel for affordable housing. Last year, we received $750,000 from Ms. Frankel for the same thing, affordable housing. And one of our partners was Adopt a Family. And part of the grant application was a section for us to fund money to adopt a family to help with homeless prevention. So tonight, Carla, if you wouldn't mind coming down and presenting the check to Matt Constantine and Emily, we're here from Adopt a Family. We get really much bigger ones than this, but I always wanted to give somebody a big check. Okay, can we come over this way a little? Okay, I'm taking one to Emily's first, and then I'm taking one to ours.
So we're gonna photobomb back here.
Okay. Sure. Plan. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so my name is Matt Constantine. I live on K Street, a long-term resident, and I've worked at Adopt a Family for over 20 years. And really grateful for this. This is a huge opportunity. A piece of the work that we do surrounds homeless prevention, right? And working with families that have 3-day notices, pending evictions. So we have a program at our office just down the street on A Street. And these funds will go to support those activities for local families in the city who are facing an eviction. And I think everyone knows it's much more efficient to prevent an episode of homelessness and avoid all the shelter expenses. Maybe I'll find out.
I think the batteries are dead.
So anyway, I'm going to keep talking, I guess, but just wanted to say thanks. We're really grateful to partner with the Lake Worth CRA. You guys have done an amazing job with the affordable housing. I look, around the county, and you guys are a leader. So just really appreciate it, and we're grateful to be able to keep this in the community to help families. Thank you.
You're welcome. Brendan's.
Okay, next we have a plaque that we're finally going to give to Brendan Lynch for all his years of service here. This one is very special to me. I can't tell you, especially over the last few years, there's been days that I really just wanted to walk out and not come back. And Brendan has talked me off the ledge, excuse me, so many times. He was a great chair. He always volunteered to help with everything and always took my calls no matter what I asked him to do, and he would do it. And I really appreciate it. So if you don't mind coming up, Carla, come back down. Okay, Drew, you're coming over now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed my time, the first round and the second round on the CRA board. Makes it extra special to have this guy behind me here tonight, coincidentally, who was with me on my first tour of duty. You didn't mention that when you came up and speak, but I'd be glad to recognize all the work that you did during that time. So, of course, so the work that you guys do out there, it's sometimes, and of course, the whole team goes maybe unrecognized or not recognized enough. And I grew up and was raised to, instead of complaining about something, you can get involved and create change. So, I remember doing signs for my dad when he ran for mayor of Delray at 12 years old, and going door to door and yard by yard and putting those signs up. And he took over as mayor of Delray when it was a very difficult time. David will remember that. I'm definitely not saying that we want to be Delray. I moved here for a reason. I'm not going on record with that. I've been here 20 years, and it's incremental change in a very positive way. And the little part that I played in that is important to me and meaningful. So I enjoyed being up there with all of you, and love to see the continuation of all that work. And I can never say enough good things about staff and Joan, Emily, Chris, everybody. So keep up the good work, and thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We missed you. Okay, is Renee available for the Wiener Museum of Decorative Arts?
Yes, Madam Chair, I am here.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm just making sure that everyone can see our screen and the presentation as well.
Yeah, we can see
Yeah,
it.
we can see
Okay.
everything. Thank you.
Fantastic. Good afternoon, Chair and CRA Board. As you know, my name is Renee Miller, proudly representing the Wiener Museum of Decorative Arts and its efforts to bring a mixed-use cultural arts campus to the city of Lake Worth Beach. For this month's agenda, I'm happy to report that in April and May, we've seen our architectural team be very busy in design and in collaboration with your city and CRA team. Engineering has been conducting environmental and boring studies, and numerous site visits have been made to the site. I'm sure some of the residents and businesses can attest to some of our noise in testing, but we have several stages of design remaining in advance of our community charrette, and we'll be ready to present our ideas to the public on May 22nd. That said, all of these preparations will come full circle when we host the community charrette at the Hatch on May 22nd from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. As you know, our event quickly filled up with 75 registrants, and even though we added quickly additional slots, invested in some more technology to be able to ensure that everyone can see and hear us, we are fully committed at this point in time. So we now will also be live streaming the charrette on YouTube at the @Lake Worth CRA handle. This charrette will be fully participative, and the community's residents will be seated at tables with actual plans, able to interact with various members of our design team to provide input. And that input will go directly back to our architectural and design team for us to be able to spend the month of June focusing in on design and perfecting a site plan that we can present to the CRA board and to the city as our best foot forward in terms of what we see as a collaborative vision for this complex. I do also want to note that during this time, question and answers will be available from our team of professionals, and we hope to be able to have a really good exchange of ideas. We really believe that these kind of processes bring forth the best results for not only us, but for the community as well. Our team has been busy with community engagement, including spending 2 days earlier this month, meeting with groups and individuals about the project, including, of course, the Neighborhood President's Council. If you have a group that would like to meet with us, please reach out via our WMODALovesLakeWorthBeach.com or our WMODALovesLWB@gmail.com, and we'll coordinate with you. We've reached out to our 100 residents monthly with our newsletter, and we can continue to receive more hits every day about this project. In June, we want to invite all of you to continue to engage as we kind of go a little bit into our shell and continue to design, but we want the excitement and we want the questions to continue, especially after on the heels of our May 22nd charrette. In terms of our status in relationship to the critical path, we are now through our site planning and analysis stage. We are deep into our collaboration and scenario development. We've completed or will complete by the end of this month 2 of the major milestones that exist in this critical path, which is our community meetings that we did earlier this month and our large community charrette that we will have next week. Looking forward to be able to finalize our vision for the P3. As always, I want to be able to publicize our landing page and post the QR code for any of the residents who are interested in getting updates on this project and continuing to get good and accurate information about what we seek to do on the site downtown. And that concludes my presentation. I am at the pleasure of the board if there are any questions.
No. No, thank you very much, Renee.
Thank you.
Okay, if you would take a moment to review the minutes from April 9th, and then I need an motion to accept.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Need. Can I get a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'm waiting on a second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now we have the action agenda, the CRA grants, Posada grants.
Actually, sorry if I'm speaking out of turn, but I didn't realize we weren't I thought we were approving it to discuss them.
No.
So, and take it one by one.
No, actually, for the consent agenda, we just have a motion and then we have a second and then we have a vote.
Okay,
So
so there's no discussion on this?
No, there's generally not a discussion on the consent agenda.
Okay,
Did you want to remove it from the
There's
consent
generally-
agenda so you can't
if-
discuss it?
Yeah, if
If
you
you
wanted
want
to
to,
remove an
yes.
item from the consent agenda, either before or at the time the motion is made, you would typically make the request to remove a specific item. If there's a question you have about it, it's up to the chair, but I'm sure that you can ask the question to clarify something.
yeah, my question really is about the process for this and, I had questions really. I mean, it seems like I understand that it's kind of already a completed idea that we're going to be demolishing both these properties. When the properties were purchased, I'm not sure, maybe it's my bad memory on this, but I wasn't certain that these were going to be demolished. So was that always the intent? Maybe Joan, if I could ask you that
No,
question?
it's certainly not always the intent. We do inspections and we do environmentals and unfortunately with these particular ones, especially the one we thought we were going to be able to save it, but bless you. But it had some environmental issues and the roof, it needs a whole new roof. And so this is going to be one of the duplexes. That's going to be new construction from the Community Land Trust.
Okay, so that was going to be my next question. Like, what is the plan, the construction plan for?
Yeah, both of them are going to go to the Community Land Trust for duplexes.
Okay. All right, and there was one that had a detached garage. I think it was the second property, 1306 First Avenue South. I was just wondering, is that part of the demolition as well?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I think it's a foregone conclusion because I was also going to ask about the cost for rehabilitation of the properties. It's a no and a no.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay,
They're too small too. Community Land Trust tends to try to build for at least 3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
all right, thank you.
Since we have allowed for discussion, is there a public comment? Does anyone have any other questions or feelings about this issue? Okay, now, can we vote on consent agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Yeah, those items have already passed.
Yeah, I
Okay, thank you.
interrupted the process, so
It's
sorry
okay.
about that.
No. And we can always remove things from the consent agenda if you want, just let us know. Now we are to the action agenda, the CRA facade grant for 15 North E. Chris?
Yes. Okay, good evening, Christopher Bros, Lake Worth CRA, and before you have another CRA commercial facade grant request. This is for the project, the mixed use project at 15 Northeast Street, which is the corner of E and Lucerne Avenue. It's a mixed use micro unit residential on the top floors and commercial on the first floor. This is a project that Mr. Juan Khan has been building or has under construction since 2021, nearing completion. He's at the point right now in which he's been advised by the city that certain requirements are being made, specifically on the perimeter of the building, the outside, such as the alleyway, utilities, sidewalks, and other elements that need to be that he's responsible for. Also, a new public fire hydrant, backflow preventer, relocation of city power poles. That's on the outside. And the interior, he's requesting funding to help with the build out of the commercial space on the downstairs, which also requires a new commercial fire suppression system that was not expected. He submitted 2 grant applications late last week for facade funding to help with assistance and for interior assistant, the interior improvement grant to help with interior build outs. We've reviewed the application, and based on what he's provided, he does qualify for, as far as the grant terms, he does qualify for funding of up to $50,000 exterior funding and $41,000. I'm sorry, $50,000 exterior funding, $41,000 for interior to help with the build out of this project. To date, he's already spent over $700,000 on the construction of this project. And to get the project to be finished, he is requesting, as I said, financial assistance from the CRA. We recommend to the board to approve the grant applications that he submitted. However, with the condition that if funded, instead of giving him a year to complete this project, he'd only have 4 months to have this project completed. So it's done by the end of September this year. Mr. Khan is here to answer any questions that you may have, or if you have any questions for myself, please. That's all I got.
First, we need a motion and a second. Would you like to take it out of order and have a discussion first? Okay. Yes, it is. I'm sorry. Instead of having a motion and a second, I can request that we have a discussion first in case you have any additional questions. I know that I have a thought. And so let's move to discussion, and then we'll have public comment, and then we'll make a motion.
I have a basic question. Chris, yeah, okay, check. Check 1, 2. All right. So usually we do these facade grants and on existing properties, not new construction. So have we done this before for new construction, or is this?
No, the grants are new construction is eligible. However, what's different about this one is that the project has already started versus in the past, we give the grants or award the grants before construction or really at the start of construction. As long as each individual trade or task is not completed yet, it still qualifies. But in the past, you have funded as long as the project hasn't started yet. And yes, it's new construction. Actually, new construction is preferred when the grants are when someone submits a grant application versus rehab.
Okay. Can I ask Mr. Cotton a question?
Yes.
Please come up, sir.
It's good to see you again. What do you think about the September 30th deadline?
I think we could make it.
All right.
Yeah, I think we're pretty set up to do that.
I don't have any other questions.
Anyone else have questions?
I have a question, Madam Chair, maybe.
Yes.
Hi, question for staff. Has this property or plot of land received any type of public funding in the past to make happen up to now?
Yes, this property was purchased by the CRA under the NSP program in early 2022, I believe. So yes, it was purchased by the CRA initially.
And it was sold to the current owner for, like a below market rate?
I don't remember what it was sold for, but it was sold for him for affordable housing to be included in the development.
And so far, the affordable housing would be two units?
2 units.
2 units?
The lot was it's a 35-foot lot. The only option for that lot at one point was to make it a small parking lot. And I think the CRA wanted to see more things happen there. Just so you know, one of the things that we're doing, I'm a professor at FIU and FAU. I've also lectured at a bunch of different schools, universities. One of the things we're doing now with Lake Worth High School, we're going to do Architecture Day once a month. They have an architecture program for the kids, and we're going to bring them to our office to show them we have 8 architects working there, all who have moved here to Lake Worth Beach. They will be coming in and learning about architecture. We're going to take them to some of the construction sites and some of the things we've done with the CRA. For 3 times, we've done some workshops with the CRA in developing the downtown with the university students. So we're trying to bring a lot of the education in, not just the architecture and the business.
Appreciate, it's great to see some involvement from the businesses. Can you, I don't know if you recall, but do you know how much your business or company paid for that plot of land? How much was it that they paid the CRA for that?
The
lot?
transaction, I don't know exactly right off the top of my head. I do know that it was, I don't know exactly, because there was some, I wouldn't want to give you the wrong number.
Mhm.
It was below market, yes.
Yeah, as most things are, when you're
Yeah.
dealing with the CRA to incentivize, development. I
understand.
understand that. Just some of the issues that when these type of grants come up are, when is it exactly when you learn about these fixes or these additions or these projects that need to be added to your overall project? When is it that, you learn about them? Because
I don't think necessarily it was about new things that were added. There were some things were added definitely, like the sidewalk, and some things that didn't know about with the fire hydrant. But it was a question of, it's a new building, and I asked if the project was eligible, and the answer was yes. So I applied. That was.
But at the time that you designed your building,
Yes.
your award-winning building,
Mhm.
did you foresee that you would have to come back to the CRA to request this type of funding?
Not necessarily in the beginning, because I didn't know what grants were available to me at the time. So I did not do that. I would have done it if I knew it, but we went in and I asked, and they said the building was available. It was eligible. So went in and applied.
But at the time that you decided to endeavor on this, did you project that you would need this type of funding, or is it just something that you would like to access since it's available?
Well,
Do you find it crucial to you
Well, I do find it crucial, because to come across the finish line one way or another, there have been things like, the alleyway has been dilapidated for years and we're fixing it, okay? The infrastructure for the new electric pole has been dilapidated forever, rusted, burnt down, bad, we had to do it. The fire hydrant, which should have been across the street, was basically put on myself, because the fire department basically said, we forgot to do it on the other building. Okay, so these are infrastructure things that, yes, I did not see, and I did not know about, one way or another, and no one could have known about that. I mean, the sidewalk, for what? And plus the curb, things with the DOT, right? They just said, sorry, we're just not doing that part of town, and I had to get a permit and everything else, pay for all those things myself. So, yes, it was a combination of some things that did not know.
Did you have any additional questions?
I'd like to just process some of what I've heard and hear from my colleagues, but I think I might have a few more follow-up questions for.
Okay, anyone else have any questions? One of the things that I noticed in reading the backup material is that you have already put almost $800,000 into this
Yeah.
project. And if I spent $800,000 and somebody came to me and said, you need to do sidewalks, alleyways and everything else, I would do it because I want to get to the finish line, but I'd also want the investment of that would be available to me. And that's what the facade grant is, an interior grant is. And so you may be coming to us late, but you certainly are not coming to us out of order. I understand that this is a phenomenal project and it's a lot of money. And I know that you're only coming before us because you need the money to get it to the finish line. And we always want that to be the end result for whatever project we begin. So I don't want you to think that we don't want to give you the money.
Right.
It's, you know, it's not that. We just ask these questions to make sure that we're doing our due diligence. But I don't have a problem personally with awarding you the facade and the interior grant. But that's my opinion. I'd like to hear from the rest of my colleagues.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to add that this particular property was bought with federal funds. And of course, because it was bought with federal funds, there really wasn't a lot we could do with it because it is a rather small lot. I have no idea how you engineered such a beautiful building on such a small spot. But it does provide affordable units, and it also provides downstairs commercial, which also gives us credit on the grant because it provides new jobs.
And the downstairs property will provide tax revenue as well.
Absolutely.
So we're at a win-win.
There's 8 young architects working there, and we've got projects around the city, as some of you may know. And in New York, Key West, we've won a couple of awards for projects that we've done in North Carolina, and a bunch in Key West and Sarasota. So I think it's a good thing for Lake Worth to have people like that are coming into town, especially young people with good energy.
Yes. And thank you for working with our students at the high school because they need all the help they can get.
They're
They
good
do.
kids. They're really
are.
good kids, and there's a lot to do there.
Any other board comments?
I do actually have a question, or it's more about the, it's only 4 months until September 30th. So I'm just wondering, like, if there was a way to, I don't know, to stipulate, is the language is already there, but could you give kind of like update reports?
I could come in monthly and give you.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
And
Bless
I'd be
you, bless
happy to
you.
Take everyone through it, at any point. We're completely open.
Because I know that's one of the things that we're reading here is that the board stipulates the project be completed by September 30th. So I'm just wondering if we could get some reports on that. I think that would be helpful. Thank you.
And I did have a question for Chris. We're not quite at the end of our fiscal year, but we may be at the end of our money. So can you give me a little update on that, please?
We're nearing the end of our money. The line item for this program was $400,000 that you guys approved last year. We're hitting it pretty close. And the reason I say this is because we have another grant application, a real good one coming in for an existing business also. You'll review either in June or early July, hopefully. That's going to really put us over the threshold. So we are shutting down the grant program as of today versus May 30th or 31st. That's usually done, except for small mini signage grants that will still be available for the next couple of weeks. But we're tapped out for these larger grants. After this one, if this one is approved, but definitely after the next one that you'll review, which you'll approve.
Can I follow up on that?
Yes.
So normally if we had budget left, we wouldn't shut down the program, right?
The applications we accept applications till the end of May.
To the end of May.
Regardless.
And if we got applications, if we kept it open and got an application, we could always hold off till the next fiscal year or come with a budget amendment, right?
Correct.
And is there enough flexibility in our budget to, if we happen to get another good, I mean, I hate to not have the opportunity.
I think so.
We already have another one that's going to come.
Right, but there could be another one. Right. So I don't know. It's, these are good things we do. So for me, I would like to keep it open and see if we get something. And if we do, see if we can deal with it.
Yeah, it's really just to kind of help close out the books, the budget for, as we try to prepare for the new budget for
Sure.
next year, that's the reason why we do it, to close out all outstanding purchase orders and just make it a lot cleaner and help staff wise and the city to help budget as well.
I'm making you work harder, is it?
Yeah.
So, but that's why we close at May 30th.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So to prepare for the new budget in June, July, and August.
Okay. Daniel, back to you.
Thank you. The only reason why I feel that we need to see if we can't get to a number that isn't exactly, because it's clear, when it comes to these type of things, of course, if there's 100,000 available, you ask for 100,000, right? You shoot for the moon and you see what you get. Now, I think the responsibility of the board is to find out what are the pockets of opportunity that really, were unforeseen, things that make sense. So because of that, I want to ask, when did you learn that the sidewalks was going to be an issue, that you had to fix the sidewalks?
That happened, I don't know, 2 months ago.
2 months ago. So prior to like when you were pulling your permits for this project, you didn't know that you were going to have to fix the sidewalks.
There was no permit with it, with the site plan. There was nothing else. I went in and said, could you fix my sidewalk? And said, no, we're not going to do that. And then they were fixing other sidewalks and said, we're not doing that part of town. So you have to pay for it. So I have documentation from the building department, from utilities that I've handed over to Chris, with emails and things that said, you must do this. Yes.
So you're being told now that you must do this later.
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, if I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So in general, to cherry pick some of the things out of there, whether I know, didn't know, the grant is given for a certain purpose, right? To further the project and get new businesses in and to get things flowing into the city.
Of course.
So all of a sudden, to get in and cherry pick like 5 or 6 things that I may have not known, I don't know how much more that really adds to, what well, I could list them, but I mean, to say that the other things aren't valid doesn't really work.
No, none of it. I'm not saying that any of your requests are invalid, right? But you understand that we have a limited amount of funding. It's a small city, One of the things that I feel that we could have dived more into was the Deco Green. You know what I mean? They already received a large amount of money, and then they came back a different fiscal year and got more.
No, Deco Green didn't get a penny from the CRA.
So just to further the question a little bit, go ahead, Jim.
No, I'm good. They answered.
Um,
Deco Green did not get any money from the CRA.
We voted not too long ago on infrastructure grants for them. Or am I referring to a different
Oh, I'm
project?
sorry, the infrastructure, yes. I thought you meant like TIF or something like that. My
That's-
apologies.
It's money from the CRA, right? So your statement about not receiving a penny from the CRA, it's more than $100,000. Do you recall now how much money?
I do, yes.
How much was it that they received?
150.
This last go around, and they had received money prior to that.
No,
Is that not correct?
no.
Okay. So that's something I would like to verify, but I'm pretty sure they came back twice. So it's not a personal. It's not personal. I'm not cherry picking. I'm not cherry picking. When you're only working with a certain amount of funds, as my colleague brought up, we don't know how many other projects are out there, right? And I walked down Lake in Lucerne and I see some of the businesses there, and I see some of the opportunities that exist in that part of town. I see the residents that call that place home, that frequent those businesses on those streets. And my purpose of serving on this board is to ensure that some projects get funded that really cater to them and their desires. You know what I mean?
I've been in Lake Worth for 22 years. Right.
Fantastic. So you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So the affordable housing units, the mixed use commercial space in the bottom. I'm not critiquing any of that, but the thing is, it is important to know in the beginning of your project, did you know that you were going to have to install a full fire suppression system?
To the extent of, to be honest, the CRA has a building that's exactly like mine that did not have to have the suppression system.
Mhm.
Okay. And then it came to a surprise of me after plan review came through. And by the way, 2021 was when we started the design. It was submitted 2022. That's when we started the building.
Mhm.
So the reality was you have a CRA building that's right here that's the same. It has 2 units and a commercial, and it doesn't have a fire suppression system. Go to the fire department, you have to put in $100,000 suppression system. Why? Okay, so I hope that answers some of your questions. So yeah, I did, come up on these things and it seemed, okay, the fire hydrant, another stream of bad luck. It should have been on the building next door that was designed 6 or 8 months before mine. So yes, I did have some issues. Yeah.
But it's just to a certain extent, right? Like I said, I'm not
Right.
invalidating any of your requests.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see how much money we can invest in your project
Mhm.
while also making it available to other projects, So to me, if you knew from the beginning, that you had to do some of these items, then it must have been the cost of doing business. You know what I mean? It must have been a foreseen expense. It must not be something that came up. You must have planned around that expense. And now you're coming to the CRA requesting money for that. I'm not saying it's a bad or good thing. I'm just saying I believe you should have maybe had already put that inside your budget for the cost of the building.
Yes.
It's okay, your questions are noted. Now, what is before us is whether or not we have other public comments and any other questions. But when we have a project that goes before our staff, they do that due diligence. They look at whether or not this is a true project, how much it's going to cost, and I trust them to make sure that they've dotted all the i's and crossed the t's. They didn't approve his project and make a recommendation to do this if they didn't believe in it. And it's unfortunate that it's nearing our project year, but May 30th, we would have ended all of our applications anyway. So he's not asking for money that we don't have, and he's not asking for anything that he cannot ask for. Whether we agree with how much a person should receive, that may be a budget item for next year. If you want to change the amount that we give, or if you want to change the policy, then we can discuss that during the summer. But right now, the issue before us is the staff has made a recommendation. We will have more public comment if needed, and then we'll have a vote. Because we need to, I don't want to subject him into any more of my second guessing. This is where we are. So let's move forward. Anyone else have a public comment?
Sarah Maliga, 408 South E. I live at the corner of this project. So first I want to say thank you all for what you do. I know what it's like to have to sit up here, but to berate, belittle, and question someone's integrity who's investing in the city of Lake Worth Beach, I think is not necessary. So I've been watching this project. When I tell you it's like dripping water of a faucet for it to come to completion, Ramsey lives right down the street. I know that there are cost inflation. I don't know this man. I don't have a personal relationship with him. I know that I have to see the construction every day when I drive home. I walk down this exact street where it is. I've actually hand delivered more applications to business owners in this city for this grant, and Chris can attest to that, up and down Dixie Highway and up and down Lake and Lucerne. So I promote this grant to a lot of small business owners of every type. I've never given one to somebody who's doing new construction. It's always existing businesses who need assistance in signage, build out. Hopefully Elegant Lady has gotten her application in because she's hopefully leaving Dixie Highway and moving back down to Lake Avenue. So I've been very involved with trying to get a lot of these applications in to the small business owners who contribute to the city of Lake Worth Beach. We hear everyone talk about affordable housing, but then when you have affordable housing before you want to sit here and talk about pennies and dollars and dimes that are going to bring this project across the finish line. As a city representative, it is not our job to pay for sidewalks when construction crews and trucks have driven over the sidewalks to build something and then they cause damage. Of course, we're going to want the sidewalks replaced. Same thing with the alleyways. It's got to go back to the developer, right? Same thing with any other damage that comes from the city on city-owned property. So I urge you to please approve this because it is affordable housing. It is mixed use. It is a good footprint, and it's bringing up the integrity of the city and that section in which I live, the area that I walk in. We don't need any more sidewalk trip hazards to be sued in this city. So when this man has small things that have come up and to get him across the finish line, and for him to say September, I took a deep breath because I was like, good Lord, I hope our permitting department helps him with this because September is right around the corner. And I don't want our staff or the city to have to go back and say, well, we can't get that done in this amount of time. So that was my only concern, was I heard that September deadline. We're talking fire hydrants and alleyways. I was like, okay, we're gonna need to try to, hopefully Chris can help guide that along with staff, knowing that that September deadline is there. But I urge you to please approve this. Let's get this project finished. I do know there was a car accident where somebody drove into the front of this man's building when he was in the process of building it. I mean, so that hasn't been like an easy, let's just get it up and build it and seal it. So it has been issues along the way, and us residents would love to see this project come to fruition. Thank you.
Yeah.
Peggy Fisher, North A Street. I've seen this project for years, just as Vice Mayor Malega has. And I would say also that the CRA district is a very large district running all the way to the C51 canal and going south. And it's not just Lake and Lucerne and a little bit in. It's a big district with a lot of opportunities for people of all a diverse group of people, not just a specific group of people. And I second what Vice Mayor Malega said about attacking someone. I know that the CRA had agreed to work as Lake and Lucerne are being redone, to work on the letter streets between Lake and Lucerne, some of which have no curbs, no sidewalks. So, you know, this is making things better, and things do pop up from the city, and we've seen it from many developments. And I support these grants. I think it's a great thing. And I just, as I said, wanted to say, we have a very diverse community, and our CRA district is wide and very diverse.
Thank you. Do we have any additional public comment? Okay, any board comment? We, yes,
I didn't really finish.
I'm
Press
sorry.
the-
I thought
But I
you
would
did.
like to just conclude with one final thought after hearing the.
That's fine.
public
Go ahead.
comment.
Mhm.
You know, it's sad to hear, especially from the vice mayor, that she believes that I belittled or attacked. You know, I was only asking simple questions, which you would imagine that our staff or somebody along the line through this process asks people, right? I don't know how much of that is going on in staff. Of course, it's not really their job or their expertise to critique the requests of the applicants. My job, I believe, or am I wrong? Do you ask like these kind of lines of questions that I've been asking today?
We berate them, just last week was not.
Let's not use the word berate, because we will be criticized heavily for using that.
No. I berated him last week because the amount of review that had to be done in a short amount of time and the questions I had to ask. And it was a back and forth to make sure that we got this on the agenda today. So yeah, it's a lot of review, and we do review it. And I think we did a decent job, but you guys you guys are 4 or 5, 7 different sets of eyes, which help out as well.
Would you say you asked some of the questions that I asked today?
Absolutely. Such as,
so it's just normal questions, you know, that I'm doing in a public forum so that people who follow us can also get a chance to hear these questions. And I'm sure some of them are asking themselves the same thing. So I really hope that the applicant didn't feel that I was attacking or berating. I just simply trying to, you know, make a decision. And I felt those questions were important to ask. Again, I repeat, you know, it's a small city. It's a small pocket of money that we have. And I think we need to be, you know, we need to see how much money it really takes to get to the finish line. Like I would like to express to my colleagues, it's always going to be the business owner's job to ask for as much money as possible. It's you know, that's the trading, negotiating. They're always going to advocate for the largest amount for themselves. What we must do is advocate for as much money as possible to get the job done so that we can continue to fund other projects. That's the only type of criticism, and these aren't pennies and cents. These, you know, we're talking about $90,000+. So, you know, sad to hear some of the comments, especially from elected officials. But I digress, and I look for the vote.
Jen?
Once again, I want to apologize for giving you the wrong information. And number two, I want to say that these grants are reimbursable, and each trade requires 2 to 3 quotes. So we know that the person who is applying has done a good job of getting a number of quotes and paying the least amount for all those different trades that are needed.
Sharon, can I follow up with
Yes.
Joan on that?
Mhm.
So if we set a deadline of September 30th, so this is a reimbursement grant. So if we set a deadline of September 30th and he doesn't hit that, basically he doesn't get reimbursed. Is that how it works? Unless you come back to us
I
to
would
get
ask
an
you during the
extension.
budget process if you would want me to put it in just in case.
I'm sorry.
I would ask you during the budget process if you wanted me to budget it to roll over whatever could be left.
Okay. So it would have to come back to us
Yes.
for that kind of approval. Okay.
Do either of you have any questions? Okay. You know, I generally don't share personal information, but my husband was a firefighter for many years, and it was his job to go around and say, you need to add that fire hydrant. You need to add that fire suppression system. And he'd come home and tell me how disappointed people would be because when he made the decision, it was final. It is not this gentleman's choice whether or not he does any of these items. If he wants a CO, he has to have all this done. And that's why he is before us. And whether he would have done it more timely, I don't know when they finally got around to him. You know, and this is the actual work of any city. Every city is like this. It's not just Lake Worth, you know, but that fire inspector, he is God in that process. And so he is only doing everything that he has, and whether or not he asks for too much, not enough, or whatever, I trust Chris to make sure, because I'd already wrote all my notes all over my paper before we started. And so I had a few questions for Chris before we had this discussion, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't ask something that, not that Chris wouldn't know the answer, but I didn't want him to feel like I was questioning his judgment, because I trust the staff that we have, you know, and so if everyone is finished, can we have a motion and a second, please?
So I'll make the motion. I'll move that we award the funding assistance to Cotton Micro Unit Building in the amount of $91,900 in matching projects and matching funds for both the commercial facade grant program and the interior improvement grant program. Stipulated that this reimbursement only occurs if the project is completed by September 30th, 2024.
Madam Chair, could I add one other thing to that we had already discussed with Mr. Conant to get monthly updates, status reports? So if we could add that to the motion, that's okay with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Good enough, David?
Yes, that's fine. You just need a second.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
I'll second that.
Okay.
We've had a motion and a second in discussion. Can we have a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 It passed. Thank you.
Any
Just
no's?
ask all of,
Oh,
ask all
sorry.
opposed.
One nay. You gotta be
Okay.
louder with your nays.
Aye. So motion passes 5-1.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to have the executive director's report. Joan.
Quite a few things just to go through and give you updates on. Obviously, WMOTA Public Charrette is on May 22nd from 6 to 8 over at the Hatch. We have registered all of you, so you don't have to register yourselves. And but the idea was that the board members and commissioners would kind of walk around the room and, you know, look at the different tables, offer advice, not necessarily sit there. But if you want to sit there, you can sit there. Artists of Palm Beach County Abstract Exhibition, they're setting up right now over at the Hatch, and that show will run from May 19th to June 19th. We also have a summer reading program, Bright Bridges, where they're going to bring in young children to Learn How to Read over the summer from June 4th to July 9th. That happens once a week. Staff has already set up a community greening tree giveaway that will take place over at the Hatch parking lot at June 15th. I'm going to go a little out of order. Circuit monthly report, was it provided to?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we spoke to them yesterday. So far, so good. We've got nothing but really positive feedback. The only thing I could say is somewhat negative is people want it to have a bigger district. And we're working on that. We've applied for several grants for it. But besides that, the other thing that we're going to do is it doesn't right now, Circuit doesn't run on the weekends before it's either 11 or 12, and we're going to shift it a little bit earlier because we do have the most people over on the weekends. So we'll have the gem car will be earlier and stop earlier, and then the sedan will go run later. So there won't be 2 cars always available, but for the most of the day there will be. Scattered site funding, I'm happy to announce the CLT just found out the other day at our press conference with Congresswoman Frankel that they've received 1.7 million in county bond proceeds. And those will go to the duplex homes I was speaking about earlier that have 3-bedroom and 2-bath and are specifically for families or households making 80% or less of area median income. For our June meeting, I've never done this before, but for the first time in 17 years, I'm not going to be here.
That's incredible.
Right? So I would like to possibly ask the board to reschedule the June meeting for the 4th Tuesday of the month. So we can do revenue presentation, probably a little bit of budget, probably do some something similar to what we did last year, like picking out which projects are our priority, et cetera. If you don't want to do that, we can do it all in July. It's completely up to you. And that's all I have. Thank you. Well, sorry. I figured we'd do it attached because that's when we put all the posters up on the board and the stickers. So.
Mhm. Okay.
Up to you, board. You don't have to answer us this very second. We'll reach out to you tomorrow and get a.
So what,
Oh,
so is this actually the brainstorming sort of?
yeah.
Okay.
That's what we usually do in June.
And I think that that's really important because we use that to form our budget for the
Correct.
year. So I'd rather move it to the 4th Tuesday to make sure that we do it timely so that in July and August, we can have our regular budget meetings. So I'm amenable to the 4th Tuesday. Does that work for anyone else?
I'm going to be flying back from New York City. My flight gets back at 6, so
You poor thing.
I couldn't get back in time unless the circuit picks me up, teasing.
I will
I-
be-
Okay.
We can, why don't we,
Can we adjust the time
Do a
or?
poll.
send out a bunch of different times and dates and we'll get with you and make sure we
Okay.
can get the
Yeah.
most amount of people there.
That sounds great.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much.
Thank you.
We're going to have board member comments. Yes.
Thanks for a good meeting. I would say really that the height was going to the digging dirt, putting shovels in today. And yeah, so Gulfstream, I think this was the main event and I appreciate everybody's comments today. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Daniel?
No comment.
So my turn.
Yes.
Just circling back. So we'll leave the facade grants open till the end of May and see if we get
Yes.
anything. Okay. He looks so pleased with me. All right, good. And great meeting, great event earlier today. Thank you for everything you do. And that's all I got.
I was at the Gulfstream celebration today, and it was really fantastic. But as I was leaving, I met this lady, and her name is Joy. And she was talking to me and she says, well, tell me a little bit about the CRA. So I told her, I said, but Joy, we're having a meeting tonight at 6 o'clock. I want you to come. And this is why we do what we do. Joy, thank you very much for coming. She came. She actually came.
All right.
Are you gonna allow public comment?
Yes,
What?
come up and talk. Yeah, no, you can't talk from back there. You actually have to come up.
We'll be here after.
It's okay. We want to hear you.
Hello. First, I made a mistake and I went to the annex and it was closed. So I was mad at all of you. And then some random person said, that's not the real City Hall, that's the annex. Okay, my one question. Who's responsible to pressure clean the public sidewalks like on Jog and Hypoluxo and it's
Not
Lake
us.
Worth,
Oh, not
It's not
us.
the beach.
the town of Lake Worth.
Nope, not us. County.
It's actually the unincorporated area of Lake Worth. We're actually Lake Worth Beach.
Yeah.
So we are only 7 square miles.
And regard that other thing from way before, I don't believe them when they said they don't know about it. And I think that we should contact the fire people because they're great and everyone loves firemen.
They do.
So maybe they'd want to help out.
Not necessarily the inspectors, but yeah.
Thank you. It's very interesting.
Thank you again for coming. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to join by Zoom and granting me that. I apologize for not being in person. So, hi there. Sorry, guys. Yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to join by Zoom. I've had a pretty challenging couple of months. I'm going to try really hard to be there next month. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry.
And come back.
I know. I want to come back.
Okay. Did we get a second for adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have a nice evening. Yes.
Meeting adjourned.
Okay.